Hello everyone, welcome to Green One Day at a Time. It's been a while since we saw what the whole allotment looks like, and it's mid-July, and I thought it is high time we had a tour of what's growing and what we are struggling with. Starting at the back of the plot, these are all my outdoor tomatoes. They are all looking very small because all of these are suckers from the indoor tomatoes, the polytunnel and greenhouse tomatoes. The bigger suckers, side shoots, I've taken them out and planted it outside here when they have rooted. All of them are flowering, but they're a mixture of beef tomatoes, sweet aperitif, sunrise, and bluebell tomatoes, I think. So all of them have flowers, which are good, but the plants are all small, considerably small. That's a parsley I planted recently, and spinach there. And this side of the pathway we have peas. They are all looking good. I've already harvested a couple of them, but the peas were not big enough. I will wait longer. And then moving along, we have more peas, and you can pick them at this stage with the moisture state, but we like it to be the pods inside the peas. A first flowering gladioli and more moistures, purple moistures. These are struggling with the temperature variance, but nevertheless they are giving me plenty of peas. One is drying. I don't know what's the reason, but one plant is drying out. Now these are bucket potatoes. They are all shallot potatoes, and this one is showing signs of being ready. And again, this one, the yellowing of the leaves are a sign, and these are two buckets of carrots and parsnip. Inside the greenhouse, it's a big change. All the spindly looking aubergines have now started to bush up and look good, and there's even a sign of flower on this particular one. This was the first one I transplanted from the pot, so I'm not surprised, whereas this plant has some sun scorching on it. That's a cell-sown tomato and red basil. That's an Indian peas. I don't know the name. I've planted some red amaranth leaves and some kale, and these are newly potted comestuna, spinach, pak choy, mixed pak choy, and kale, I would like to say. So these are all ready to go out actually. That one of the seedlings is Amara kale. Now here is my melon plant. I've given it a support system so that it can climb up. It won't, but I have to trail it up. None of these fruits will stay. See, this come off because they are not pollinated. So I need to pollinate to get more beans. So for each cane, I'm only expecting one. My sweet potato, more spinach, red basil. There's a green tomato there. Indian snow peas. They are a firm favorite in my house. They're growing really well inside that structure. And more spinach, sweet basil. There's a chili which was looking really sad. I hope I can get a couple of chilies from this. Let's see, up they're very slow, but now they are picking up. Now this is orange fresno. This is garden center pot, so that's why they have started to give me some chilies. And again, there's one more behind there. I think that is a purple chili. And these are my pak choy, ones that slugs decided to leave for me. So I've already taken 2 pickings of leaves from this. Now they are going into seeds. I might just harvest the whole plant. Aronica berry. It's getting heavy for the branch to actually hold it up. But they're not ready yet. Need a couple more days. They're swelling up. But they would be ready in a couple more days. All my raspberries are finished. More shallot potato in the tub. Next year that tub is going for ochre. These are my climbing beans. Some of them, there's 3 lots of sowings in this. Some of them were sown and transplanted along with a second sowing and then direct sowing. So there's 3 rounds of climbing beans on this tray. There's boloti beans as well. So some of the beans I'll be picking and then some will be left alone. Now, a Mazonica pumpkin. This is a new variety I'm trying. It's a bush variety, so they won't spread. They'll produce small pumpkins. It's got transplant shock. They are planted with a lot of cosmos and runner beans on the structure. This is my winter squash and cucumber side. You can see how they're struggling with the weather condition. Wild rocket, it's gone into flower. I'll be harvesting all of these leaves today, so they will have a chance to grow again. The sunflower and courgette is also struggling with the weather. What's looking good is my Romanesco cauliflower interplanted with mixed beetroot and cosmos. They're looking good. Again, French beans, really good looking, nicely fruiting, lot of flowers. I've already picked some, and now these are my second pickings coming along. They are doing really well in this mild weather. Outer tomatoes, have no idea what these 4 varieties are, but they are looking all right. And these are tiny miniature tomatoes. So I think they would just spread rather than grow tall. Purple sprouting broccoli and Brussels sprouts, they were looking really weak a couple of weeks ago, but now it's picked up. They've been caged to protect from pigeons, and these are edamame beans. Again, interplanted with some flowers. Some cabbage. This plot or this section had cauliflower as well, but I don't have any cauliflower now. All have been munched by slugs. So I've filled up the space with red Swiss chard. So let's see whether the slugs leave them alone. Now here is a plot, there's aphids and a ladybird eating the aphids. So that's controlling the natural order of nature. This bed is full of different kinds of kale. I am not sure how many varieties are there. There's curly kale, there's Cavolo Nero, there is emerald kale, frizz kale, and kaleette, scarlet kale. There's a lot of different varieties of kale in this bed. They are again netted to keep the pigeons out. So I have to raise the nets now. Now this is my brassica, mixed brassica. So they could become could be a mixture of brassicas in here, interplanted with spring onions. My broccoli is looking very sad. They've been mauled by slugs and snails. This is a bed with a couple of cabbages in it. They're hearting up, so that means that the leaves are curling in and forming the heart. This one is being eaten by slugs. Oh, there's one inside. Have a look. There's somebody sitting inside. I will remove it and dispose it off in my compost bin. So they're hearting up really nicely. And there's one at the end which is being definitely affected by slugs a lot more. Shallots are all ready to pick. I'm just waiting for a dry day, or maybe I'll pick them today as well. And these are wild rocket. This is my green zebra tomato, which is planted outside. So the plant doesn't look that tall. And black beauty, they're also fruiting. They don't look that tall because of the weather condition. However, that's not the story inside polytunnel. It's a jungle of tomatoes. Look at the amount of flowers on this sweet apparative. So many of them. I have had to pinch the top of the branches to stop it from growing any taller than the polytunnel. So the weather inside, the heat inside the polytunnel has given it a boost of growth. So there, the pinched area. So that is sweet apparative. Moving on to sweet apparative. Moving on to beef tomato, and again there are a couple of them which are looking really good and lot of flowers. So heat makes a big difference for tomato plants and cucumber plants. There are many more in here. So that's sunrise or sun gold, one of them. And this wall of leaf is cucumber. Not one plant, there's 4 there, different varieties. So here's one variety. I'm really not sure what that is. There is normal English cucumber, there is a lemon cucumber, and honey cucumber. So there are different kinds of cucumbers in here. So there's so many fruits around. Whereas this one, I think this is honey cucumber. I haven't seen any flower with fruits. Cinnamon basil already took 3 or 4 different cuttings from it. It's doing really well. And more tomatoes. I've lost the label for this one, so I'll have to wait for the fruit to come to see what it is. And purple sweet potato. Can't wait to see whether that will give me good harvest. It's a nice flower with loads of bugs on it, looking very fancy. Beetroot, strawberries, and asparagus, companion planting. That beetroot is ready to pick. Asparagus is really good, doing good. So you don't pick them for the first 4 years, you just let them grow bigger and bigger. Now this beetroot is big enough for me. I can pull this out. If you leave it in, it will grow bigger and bigger. I've lost 3 or 4 plants to bolting, and what I've noticed is my purple color potatoes, none have stayed. Now this is a pathetic bed of onions and garlic. So you saw how the garlic was in my last video. The onion is exactly the same. Apart from this one onion, everything else is looking really sad. I'll weed them today, so they look very weedy right now, but it's not a good harvest at all this year. As we go to the end of the second plot, apples. This apple tree hasn't had any diseases, whereas this one, it's a different variety. I don't know the name. We got the trees along with the allotment. This tree, the apples have scabs, and look, there's somebody inside there living. So I'm really not sure how to get rid of that. This rose is doing really nicely. This is second flush of flowers. One flush is finished. Again, for this red rose, one flush of flowering is finished. Second lot is coming up. So I will be cleaning all of this mess, and then that will clear it out a bit more. This is a strawberry bed for namesake. I've never had one strawberry from it because the pigeons and the slugs have eaten them all. So next year I will be netting these so that at least I can get some, whatever the slugs decide to leave behind. So as we move from the back of the second plot towards my red currant, no red currants this year at all. That is planted with some autumn joy sedum and some chocolate mint, and it's growing up nicely, but no fruits this year. My spinach bed is doing really well, and the brassica bed was also doing really good. Now let's harvest some shallots. This is a really good bunch. See, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 on it. Really good harvest. All of the bunches have got really good ones, good shallots. So that's all the shallots I got from this lot. It's a really good harvest this year. I think the key is to aerate the soil really well. I've left it in my greenhouse on the shelf to dry. They need to dry to store well. So I have a whole year's worth of shallot harvest that I let it dry. Now the wild rocket next to the shallots also need harvesting. So I'm not going to pick the leaves. I'm just going to chop it to the ground and take all of it home so it will grow again. In the place of shallots, I'm going to plant these red amaranth leaves and hope that it gets enough time to to give me a harvest. For the past 2 years that I've tried, the heat has made the plants bolt quickly. So this time round, I'm trying it later in the season. So all of them are sown. Hopefully the slug should leave them alone and I should get at least one harvest from it. I'll be happy can get one harvest. For the past 2-3 years, every year they just bolt with the heat. So let's hope that the mild weather helps them to grow and not bolt. That's the end of this week's tour, and this is today's pick. A lot of sweet potato leaves, Indian radish leaves, wild rocket leaves, lots of greens. We cook with all of these greens. We don't just eat them raw. All of these leaves are cooked in different forms. Some black berries, my pathetic onions, and some green beans, and lots of berries. So that's the end of this week's tour, and the sky looks so beautiful with sun setting on one side and cloudy on the other. The weather hasn't been great, but the forecast is a heat wave, so I'm hoping all the plants would benefit from the rain and now the heat. Until next time, see you soon. Stay safe.